I'm in Ireland 15 years now, and I work for Clonakilty in the architect's department, and I'm going to talk to you about public space mainly, and the role of public space in towns of Ireland and local community. Which can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry. It's quite crucial in development and rejuvenation of towns, and it's something that is applicable to really all the small towns in Ireland, and not only in County Cork. When I came to Ireland first, my first job, my first interview was in Dublin, 19 Merrion Square. I arrived my first day in Ireland. I couldn't find Merrion Square. I had the map because I was looking for what I thought was a square in Italy, which is a place where there are a lot of people having coffee and surrounded by buildings. But end up, Merrion Square was actually a park with a road around, so I was a bit confused. I started to realize that things were a bit different, but the culture in reality was people and the target of having community. So I know from the few comments, my title might be not right, but actually you're super right, because there's no point of showing Clonakilty here as a place to imitate. But actually what I'd like to show you here is the process that us as designers, as people that like to deliver this principle, community and public space, have to face, because it's not that easy like it looks. It's not that you have a project, a brief, and you deliver it. It's just that there's a lot of challenges. So when I designed and when I was appointed for Aston Square, was my first project, it took 8 years before actually the people came on board and trusted what I was going to say, and trusted the work of Cork County Council trying to deliver these places for the community and for the towns. So I didn't have another town to relate to when I started with Aston Square, because there were very few towns in Ireland that had a similar sort of solution. So I related to Italian towns, and at the beginning wasn't really successful, because when I said Aston Square needs less car parking and more coffee places, they said to me, well, you're Italian, you don't really understand the weather here. And you know, it was not as simple. But now you might have Clonakilty here and other towns to take as a template in terms of the process, and say, if things have worked there, maybe the process is right, and maybe we should really work together. So I'll just say what are the principles that we town architects and architects department are applying in all the towns in County Cork. Bring people back to live the town centre, sense of community, and to deliver vibrant places that can attract people to go and live and have tourists. And the public space, as I said, is very crucial in this process. So a town that works, as everybody has said tonight, is a town that you want to live, work and play. Not only you want to visit, especially you want to actually raise your family. That's my town in Sicily. It's a place that I take as a reference because, it's a square. That's where everything happens, as I said. It's a place where people meet, and they have football. I know you're very good in here as well, so you might appreciate that we celebrate football in the street. We have procession, and we have sport events, and we have music events. And events like political, actually. This is a latest election in June this year. So what way towns have changed, and I'm now referring to Ireland, and I'm just going to show you a few cases, like in Shannon. These are the Lawrence collection photographs that I take as a tool, because I want to see how Ireland was before and what is the real heritage of this place. So in Shannon in 19th century, and in Shannon in the 80s. And this is the Manway in the 19th century, full of people, reminding me of the concept of square that I had in my mind. And that's the 80s. And Bantry before and after, more or less similar situation. So what went wrong, and where are the people gone? So it's a common problem for all the towns that are dying in Ireland. Regional routes impacting town centres. What before was a place for people is now car parking. The car came along with a lot of accessories like traffic lights, like road marking. They all really contributed to create a place that wasn't a place for people, and unfortunately affecting the community and the sense of identity. So all started in, this is a celebration, one of the first traffic lights in London. And it wasn't anybody's fault, but everybody thought this was it. That was really to improve people's life. So from Italy during the 1960s, possessing the public space is our target. That's what we are trying to do in our job. To Bantry, I found the same thing only a few years after. So I looked at Clonakilty, and it's where we have, after 10 years, starting with Aston Square, applied this concept of safety and bring back the community, which is, in my experience and in our experience, is the driving engine of every development. It's actually the community who drive everything, who share vision with the local authority, who kind of trust that, you know, this is what they want to do, is improve the people's life and putting people first. So it's a collaboration, it's a trusting process, and that's what it worked. Case study at Aston Square. As I said, this was the place that people told me, you don't understand the weather, we're not going to have coffee there. And so this is, you are very familiar with it, but as you see, the yellow one is the main street and is a regional road. So regional road came along and brought highlighting looks, for example, road marking and all of this. And all the town in Ireland are either have national road or regional road. It's a common thing. So it's very similar case. Aston Square, the yellow one are the empty building. So different problems, clutter, pedestrian conflict with cars, as you can see. You can make that, it's familiar with everybody in every town in this country. So this is our Aston Square actually, and you can see there's a clutter things. That's what they called me. They called me for and said, this is the square. But I thought this wasn't looking like a square. It's actually a junction of cars, a triangle with a lot of things. And people sometimes think that these things are traditional and as heritage, but actually, if we go back to those Lawrence collection, there wasn't this in this photograph. So it's not because I'm going to say you don't need those. They weren't a part of history. So the clutter and dated street furniture, etc., the poor tree roots was dying. This was all a problem, and that's where we wanted to start with. So that was before. As you see, there wasn't any bollards or street furniture, Victorian age. Aston Square after the 60s, and that's the design. So it's a quite simple design. It's related to the Irish Celtic, and it's two focal points which are part of the place was the sculpture and the tree. So the elliptical actually came along quite well in terms of connecting the place and looking like a public space and not a road or a junction of road. In reality, this was my real inspiration because I'm Italian, so I couldn't tell them, you know, only now they know. So this is Aston Square before, and this is after. So this was quite challenging because this is what they call, it's called shared space. So it's a one plane, one level where cars and people interact. And this, believe it or not, is one of the biggest challenges that us as designer have to face in all the country. So Clonakilty has been coming up because it's actually done. Nobody's died, because when I proposed that, everybody told me still people think people are going to die. But nobody's died. It's been there since 2013. And thanks God, no accident. the people there were not as easy. Like, we always think Clonakilty is different, but people are not different, they're the same. Of course, when I said to these people, let's get rid of the car parking, nobody wants to get rid of car parking. And you're going to face the same thing in all the towns when there's a public realm project. So there were empty units there, but people are reluctant to changes. This is a big change. So this wasn't an easy one. And this is the result in terms of before and after. And this is after. People starting to realize that actually, after all, it wasn't too bad to lose car parking, and there was no accidents. So these are the same people who told me, you don't understand the weather, we're not going to have coffee. But after all, they had coffee, they had blankets in the evening, and they're happy that they didn't, they really lost car parking. They did lose car parking, but it was worth it. So these shops were closed, they're not open. Other shops are coming up for planning, and they have the same expectation in terms of people are going shopping in their shops and not cars. And again, showing you in my slides on Sicily, this is actually similar. We have music on the street, and we have sense of place. and community. So that's the real target, is having people using the space that is not only the leftover from the buildings, but is their space. MS Square, I'll go very quickly because MS Square was also part of the same contract and the same master plan, which was called Clonakilty 400. It was a big celebration for the celebration of 400 years of borough of the town. So coming back to that one, the place was quite effective antisocial behavior in the square. It was first, the main entrance was this. But because it wasn't very much in the desired line, which was that actually, this is Michael Collins' house, Michael Collins' statue, and the schools are here. So there's a lot of children traveling. This entrance wasn't in the right place altogether. And there was a very high vegetation of trees in the perimeter. Residents came to me once saying, we want to cut the trees because it's a problem, there's antisocial behavior, or we want to put gates in the park. So there are solutions, there are other solutions, and sometimes it's worth to listen and to trust who wants to tell you that maybe it just opening up a different entrance, maybe it's just to connect two places in a one straight line, and maybe just have some more of attraction that can be good for this place, might not be work for another place. So every place is different, but the concept is the same. So that's as Met Square before, so this was the entrance. Actually, this is a very old photo. The trees were enormous, and they were capturing light, and there was no passive surveillance, so there was a bit of not very nice activity there. But it was the solution was to open up a new entrance and make actually the priority of the people very evident, because we put out the footpath and we said, dear cars, we come first. 50 slides left. But this is anyway the park in its looking now. And small things like water feature, these children love it, and there's a beautiful beach in Chidoni Beach, and they think that this is actually more attractive. The children said to their parents, we don't want to go to the beach, we want to go there. So small things, and the park is very well used, while before it wasn't. So it's a place to play, again, where people can meet. This is my favorite thing, is that it's the chair to kiss. So I want to try to have Irish people kissing more in public, and they usually sit in very long benches, and so my policy is let's put chairs very close to each other, and it's working. But what I said at the beginning, the community is so important. So once these people were so much on board since the design stage, and this is what is happening as well in Banda with the public consultation, etc., people get on board and they feel this is their project. We are together working with the local authority, and we believe that this is our project, and we have free maintenance. So the local community are strong and maintain the place. These are nice shots, and again, sense of pride and celebration. Celebration are important. They're essential to make community feeling well. And this was during the unveiling of the place by Michael D. Higgins, and all the costumes and the celebration of the party were really amazing. Christmas lights. So that's the two squares, and we waited for a drainage scheme, which was the main street, to actually make up the streetscape. So very quickly, that's Michael Collins' house, which is also in the same network of master planning. So that's Michael Collins' house, Emmett Place, Aston Square, and this is the main street. Same principle that Simon applied to Westport, same principle that we are applying in Cork County Council everywhere in the towns. So that's the drainage scheme, and what do? Instead of putting back everything like it was, we took the opportunity and we improved the footpath width, etc. We put trees. Okay, trees is the biggest challenge in Ireland. I can never understand why in Sicily we pay for the water because it never rains, and you have free water. Why do you always against trees and parks? I would never understand that. But you know, this is trees. They're not going to obstruct the facade in the streetscape. Please believe me, your towns need trees. The trees are specific, designed to not to be obstructive. Unfortunately, in the past, the trees were wrong type of trees, and that's what people connect with. But trust your local authority and trust your designers. We have the right trees for you, and they will make nothing but good. So that's before. And that's after, because that's what we need. We need a home zone in the streetscape. We need to create that place. So that's before and after, trying to deliver wheelchair access, etc. And the furniture. Furniture again, kissing distance table, everybody telling they're gonna drink, you're promoting drinking with those tables. Nobody's drinking those tables. They have cafe, cappuccino, they have Lego, everything. And it's working well. Very quickly, just because it's not only Clonakilty, the same is applicable to Mallow, which is the town centre. And you see all of this, they're churches. So we connected in a master plan churches. You have amazing churches in here. So it's all about connecting and create footfall. There's only less than 1 kilometre between the city centre here, Mallow Town Square, and the Spa House. So this is again the empty units. That's the way the lanes were. This is the historical lanes. And that's the National Road again. And where are the people going during the weekend when there's no traffic? And this is an outside development of the centre. That's where the people go. And why did the shops close in the town centre? Because there's a bit of confusion on what is first. But that's a beautiful town, Mallow. And it's like Bandon. You have amazing buildings and making Clonakilty look like a village, really, because you are a really good town. And again, just maybe changing the road. Instead of having straight road, we just move the road and we make space, a southern facing, for people to have sunshine. That's before, and that's after. Social activities with public space, Christmas lights, and celebration. Celebration again in the streetscape. As you know, the chambers were very strong in Clonakilty. They put together, they had 18 months of disruption for construction. Is nothing funny. 18 months, if you're a business, you know what it could be, that nobody can access your shops. But everybody was in the same vision. It was a vision that the local authority had with the community, and everybody buy into it. There was a great community engagement, there was a great communication, and everything went well. That they organized this, the chambers organized this, and it was a fantastic celebration of the opening of the streetscape only in June, last June. Street Carnival, the full town was, all the restaurant cooked, and it was a fantastic event for everybody. You can see from these people, they're happy. They had 18 months of no business, but it was worth it. And that's what you're gonna face, and I'm sure this can help you to understand that it's worth it. So this is finishing with this, which is Richard Rogers, is an Italian architect, saying that a coffee place is a public space. Sometimes it's really what you have, and lighter, quicker, cheaper is a public space movement internationally, where they say community-led initiative. You can do things temporary, like in Cork there is Reimagining Cork. I don't know if you know, they're painting the boxes. Simon will show you the closing the road, and etc. So I never bypass Bandon when I go to Clonakilty. And I always remind me of Sicily. This is a town in Sicily called Cartagirone. And there is places already there you have. And I know what this reminds you of, the beautiful church you have. It's there. That's a public space with nothing. Just you need to actually believe it is. And you look, that's what we do there. We put candles, we put flowers, festivals, cost nothing, and people start to use it. It's the mentality. And you know, sometimes maybe the brisk can open up the gate more, I don't know. But that's actually saying that a good town is like a good party. And this is a young girl architect saying people stay because they're enjoying themselves. So the people are the most important thing in this story, and you are the people. Get together as a community. We are here to assist, and that's what we should aim on in Bandon as well.